Hey everyone, should Disney buy Anaheim GardenWalk? I am here to say a resounding yes, 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 they should. Now, why should they buy Anaheim GardenWalk? Well, there's many reasons, okay? Number one, its proximity to the Disneyland Resort and where it sits. It's basically, for those of you that are not aware, it basically sits between our current resort and the Toy Story parking lot. Now, the reason why this is so important is because the Toy Story parking lot has been rumored to be the site of the eventual third gate for the Disneyland Resort. So if you bought Anaheim GardenWalk, that would be the perfect, transition point between our current resort and the new park. Okay, so that's the number one reason I believe that they should definitely snatch up GardenWalk. Now, here's another reason. The Disneyland Resort is very, very, very tight on space. Very small resort. We don't have the quote-unquote blessing of size like they do in Florida. So every piece of land that they can grab, they need to grab it. Okay, they need to grab it because the Disneyland Resort, the only way that it can remain a viable, healthy resort going forward is if it continues to expand and grow and offer new things. My big fear is if they're unable to expand outward, that what they're just gonna do is the future is basically gonna be retheming existing properties. We're kind of already seeing that with like Pixar Pier, Mission Breakout, even Finding Nemo submarines a few years back. I'm really afraid that if they can't find land outside to expand outward, that's what they're going to do. They're just going to take existing attractions and retheme them. I don't want that. I don't know about you guys, but I do not want that. I'm not against retheming attractions here and there, but I don't want that to be the source of all the growth going forward. So in order for the Disneyland Resort to grow, it has to buy land outside of the current perimeter of the resort. GardenWalk is a perfect spot. It's a pretty decent size piece of land, and it would connect that Toy Story lot, which is rumored to be the eventual third park, to the current resort. So it's a perfect purchase for Disney. Now, a lot of people argue that Disney won't buy it because they don't want to get into like the mall business. They don't want to manage a mall, or that there's these stores have like leasing contracts where they're able to they have a contract, so they're basically set for like a year or two or whatever. I'm here to say that I don't think Disney is really worried about that. I mean, that's sort of like, short-term thinking, okay? This whole project, or whatever you want to call it, if they were to buy GardenWalk, it's going to be a long-term thing. There's no, real plan right now to expand out into a third park. So Disney doesn't have to, settle all those leasing agreements right now today. They can wait it out. They can buy the shopping center, let those leasing agreements expire, don't renew them, and eventually the mall will be empty. They can bulldoze it and do whatever they want with it, and it's theirs. Okay, GardenWalk is not a short-term investment. Okay, we have to get that out of our head. It's not a short-term investment. If they were to buy GardenWalk, it's a long-term investment. So yeah, they can just wait it out. They can just not renew these leasing agreements, and eventually the mall would empty out and that land is theirs. This has actually happened at one of my local malls, Westfield. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they have shopping malls all over the country, and they recently bought a mall in my area. Now, what they want to do with that mall is bulldoze it and build a whole new entertainment and shopping complex. Okay, but just like GardenWalk, there's leasing agreements where these stores and restaurants have contracts to be there for a certain amount of time. What Westfield did was they just exactly what I'm suggesting now. They waited it out. One by one, all these leasing agreements started to fall off. And now the mall sits empty and they're going to start bulldozing it, and Westfield is going to build their entertainment complex. That's exactly what Disney could and should do with Garden Walk. It doesn't matter if there's leasing agreements. Disney's not going to build the third park next year anyway. So buy the land while it's available. Ride out all the leasing agreements. Don't renew them. And then when the mall's empty, bulldoze it. Because as we all know, the Toy Story lot will become a third park eventually, and Garden Walk, if they buy it, could be a perfect connector to the resort and that new third park. So that's why I think it's so important that Disney buy Garden Walk. Now, as to the question, why haven't they bought it already? If it's been on the market a few times, why haven't they bought it already? It just seems like a no-brainer. That question I can't answer. I think it has more to do with like lawyers and bean counters and contracts and arrangements. I don't know. I'm not in those deals or those arrangements, negotiations, whatever, when they're happening. I can't really say. But it's not a lack of interest. Disney is so interested in that land. They're interested in it. They want it. Okay, if it doesn't pan out, it's just because of some technicality or some deal they weren't able to come up with. Okay, but they want the land. I think eventually, if you're asking me my prediction, I think eventually they will get the land. I don't know if it'll be exactly during this, sale. Are they going to buy it? I don't know. Okay, but eventually, I think Disney will own that land, and I think it will be the connector between the third park and this current resort. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Disney should buy Garden Walk? Do you disagree with me? Do you think they should not buy it? What are your thoughts on this? I love to hear from you guys. Also, follow me on Twitter at OrangeGrove55. You can ask me questions. We can talk Disney. I love talking to you guys about all things Disney, Star Wars, Pixar, whatever you want to talk about. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm down to talk about it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate your support. And as always, have a wonderful day.